say hello. My name's Georgia, and I'm sitting here with, well, not sitting unfortunately in the same room, but somewhere in the ether with the beautiful Rob Cook, who I initially met when we were doing Supercoach together, which was 3 years ago. And I have watched Rob flourish in his creativity. So hence he's here to share about what's changed, what he sees in life, and how his creativity rolls. Which gosh does it roll? Hi, Rob.
Hey, how are you?
I'm awesome. All the better
Hey,
for seeing your exquisite face.
thank you. Y'all started a community.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Like you just let's look. We're gonna take this out to the world. We starting a community. I love it. Well, thank
Well,
you for letting me be here.
uh, uh, thank you for coming, especially when you agreed to it and then said, what are we talking about? So you could have left yourself wide open for actually anything.
Anything. I'm in the flow, I'm in the
You always
flow.
are. So I know your background obviously started in the forces. And actually, it came to me just before we came on to ask you how you saw creativity turn up in life and death situations.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Um, I didn't again, the answer will be from my hindsight perspective.
Of
I don't
course.
want to make it seem like in the midst of this, I was just all enlightened and then knew it as it was going on, because I didn't. But looking back, what I noticed that in the military with creation versus now, no matter how far out of the box I thought I was with my ideas, my concepts, my strategies for war, or whatever the case may be, it was still inside the box of the military. Like you could never get outside the boundaries they set, but you could play in that field all you want. And sometimes you feel like you're such a advanced thinker or a thought leader because you're not with everybody, but then you realize y'all are still in the same room. That's how the military is kind of set up. Um, Here, being in this civilian world or spiritual community or psycho spiritual community, whatever you want to call it, it's the creation without training wheels.
Mm.
Like it's I rode my bike for 21 years with my training wheels. I could learn some things, I messed some things up, but the training wheels kind of kept me afloat. The rules of the military kept me afloat, meaning if I outranked you, there was a likelihood you would have to listen to me. So it didn't require me to listen back to you for your buy-in. I could tell you your buy-in. And again, hindsight is realizing that wasn't real leadership, because leadership is the ability to influence someone to whatever, follow, whatever. Here, those training wheels are gone. You're not telling anybody what to do. And if you're telling them what to do, they damn sure ain't listening. So um, it really changed the way I created in the world, because I really had to get clear on who I was um, for people to see. So it's kind of like looking back at the military, I understand that the bottom, the root or the essence and why they had the rules.
Mhm.
Like your leaders are the most vocal in the unit. They're out front first in, last out type things. And I think that was so people could so-called get a glimpse of who they were or who they thought they were, which would allow them to follow them. Here, I didn't want to play that game anymore. I didn't want to play if you thought I was or were not. I just wanted to play I am. And whoever follows me as a result of playing I am was meant to follow or be guided by me in that case. So that's kind of like the freedom I feel with creating this. The training wheels are gone now, you know.
That's fascinating, the fact that creation, though, as I see it, is even the fact that even if we're in a box, this has to be situations where inspiration can play out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
But as you say, it's within a box, but it's still the creative force of inspiration that would maybe alter the outcome of a situation.
Absolutely. I mean,
Mm,
again, just pointing to things they used to teach us. The reason we do so much repetition with exercises and things in the military is because we don't know what we'll face. So in a essence, they want to show up and respond type soldier, sailor, marine, or airman. That's what they want, so they try to teach you how to fight, teach you how to drive, teach you how to shoot. So given you know all three of those, if somebody was to attack, you could just reach in your bag and pull out the right tool and you'll be set to go. That's just not how it works. Though.
no.
Yeah. Windshields don't stop bullets in any other places but Hollywood. So I think that's like a Hollywood clause only. So yeah.
So I know that you had a moment, as many of us have had, with Michael Neal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moments with Michael Neal are fairly earth-moving, aren't they?
Yeah. That should be a show in itself.
Shouldn't
The
it?
moments with Michael Neal. I like that. I might do something with that. I like that. Yeah.
So when did it really start to kick in with you that actually you were a creative being and that everything? No, I'm not going any further than that. Tell me about that.
Emerging voices.
Mm-hmm.
Michael's emerging voices for me. Aside from the fact I had probably two of the most beautiful bookends. What I mean by bookends is the person sitting left and right of you that you could cry on one shoulder, smile on the other one, kind of get a feel for in the class, which was Murr Monson and Christy Halverson.
Oh, beautiful.
And so it really felt like a birthing process
Mm-hmm.
starting that program, especially the intensive part, because I remember just crying vividly on the last little bit of holding on to the broken thoughts versus accepting I am the creative energy of life. Like it was the last big scare of this being true.
Mm.
And when I came out of that program, I don't think I've ever questioned again. I mean, there's things I question in the form, like, how are you going to be on stage right after Dr. Pettit or, things like that. But never about me being a creative being from or built in the same as the creative energy of life. That one never needed to remind me again after that course. I never needed to think it was just part of who I was after that. Whether that was stuck in something and needed a new creative idea out, it was just, I never got away from knowing I could create something to get out of this right now, even if it's a shitstorm, you know. But that was it. And then I think Emerging Voices was like 2018, 17, 18, maybe. But yeah, that was the one where I remember.
Of course, you did that before you did Supercoach.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When I came to Supercoach, it was actually pretty funny. I didn't know I was coming to Supercoach at first
Mhm.
because I didn't know I was a coach or knew I wanted to be a coach in a sense. Um, what I had got from not enlisted, but Emerging Voices and the intensive I had before that was just the understanding for myself. And so as I settled and played with it for about a year or so within myself, I was talking to Lynn, I think it was, and she was like, "Oh, it's time now." And I was like, "Time for what?" Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean? And the story goes on. Yeah, we hit the class and all that. But yeah, when I got to the class, I could see the exercises and the things we do. I could feel like, oh, how to use them to create things or point to a guide to, because I already had an understanding for myself. So it kind of made it a lot easier to digest the information, if you want to say it that way. But yeah,
It's
that was
fascinating because my story is totally the other way around. Because when I came across Michael, which was only in 2019, I was desperate to do Emerging Voices. but I kept saying, I don't know what to say yet. I
Yeah.
know I don't know what to say yet. But that whole creative space with him was where I wanted to be. And like you, I didn't know I wanted to be a coach, but ended up pressing a button and going, oh, apparently I'm signing up for Super Coach Academy. So I did that. And then in lockdown did Emerging Voices. So it's so fascinating to see actually there's a creative force at work, no matter how we get there,
Absolutely. Yeah.
always evolving something wherever
Oh,
we're meant to be.
oh yeah. That's a true statement. That is a very true statement. I love how that sounds. Uh,
And I know, I mean, I used to sit there with Michael. I can remember him doing one particular exercise on an intensive. And he went, okay, you've got to write a story about a rabbit. And I went, okay. And that experience of the download of it just coming through, and such a fun piece just appearing in the world. And it was like, oh, I didn't even have to do that.
Somebody asked me the other day to speak about, and it was a class setting, so I want to make it seem like she was just out of the blue coming up, but it was a class setting where we're talking about public speaking.
Mhm.
And she threw me the topic of a sequence onesie. Exactly.
Again, a onesie as in a suit.
Like a onesie as in a suit that's
Okay.
made of sequins, all the different colors gleaming.
Gorgeous.
So of course I ran, as I could with it, but she was just like, how did you, like, what? I was like, I don't know. Like I've never ever in my life thought of a sequence onesie. So when you said, I had to break it down and think of sequence, then I had to think of onesies, then I had to, but it was all happening real time. And I had to talk about it for 3 to 5 minutes and, so on. But again, knowing that you're of this creative energy, you could pull things from anywhere.
Mm.
Like you could pull things from anywhere. I could have talked about how much I did know about sequence onesies for 3 to 5. It was just like,
Which may not have been a huge amount.
true.
I guess you go that one.
But it was so interesting. It's so interesting to see when faced with something, how many rules. It's almost like that. Oh snap! My charger looks like it's about to go out here in a second. I'm sorry. It's kind of like one of those things where a movie scene goes and somebody hits a button and next thing you know, doors come up, shades come down, everything locks. It's like that's what we do when it's time to show up and respond. I'm showing up. Click. Well, how are you gonna respond when you done made this rule up about it, this rule up about it, can't do this part, can't you're boxed. It's what are you doing now? Is
Totally, because I mean, we come into just what it may say about us.
yes, which is what I was my initial thought of the sequence ones was, what the hell are they gonna think about me when I finish this speech? Like like what I'm going to say, but what's going to be the response of it afterwards. And that just makes me giggle.
Mm.
Right? That makes me giggle. Like they could say it's a crock of shit, or they could say, oh my God. But either way, I'm gonna love the hell out of talking about sequence onesies, whether I know what I'm talking about or not, just because I love the experience of life,
I think it's so fascinating from the point of view that the experience of, oh my God, what's this going to say about me,
Yeah.
is so universal.
Yeah.
I don't know of anyone that doesn't appear to have that thought for a nanosecond,
Yeah.
no matter how confident, how unconfident, just beforehand.
Yeah.
Which says that actually even that thought isn't personal.
I agree.
And that I find so fascinating.
I do too. I
But
really do.
I know I see all the programs that you're doing.
Hold
And
on one second, George. I don't want to stop us, but we're gonna die. So I'm gonna not die. Let me get this battery out here. Right. Hold on one second.
okay, I'll just keep talking while he plugs in his battery. Or not plugs in his battery, plugs it into the mains. And that's cool. So I'm not going to sing to you because that would be a punishment. I know he's still there somewhere. So I can get creative in this moment, can't I? So I know that Rob is so in his flow of creation and what that means. And he takes my breath away on a regular basis with just how he plays. And here he is. Back
Sorry
again.
about that. Yeah.
No,
I was like, I'm gonna get cut off mid-question. And it's like I died in the Zoom world. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It'd be silly. So what I was going to ask is, I mean, I see the quantity of new stuff that you just turn up in the world to. Tell me about your experience of just going, hell yeah, that's this next idea. How do you experience it?
Getting clear. Getting
Okay.
very clear on the point I wanted to make about life, how I wanted to play. My personal vision is I want to end human suffering. That's my, as you said, big boy goal, you know. But before I was clear on that, I did a lot of shit, a lot of stuff that may not necessarily have had a directed point of travel. It was just fun to do. And in doing it, I learned a lot. But there came a time where I felt like I was just running laps more so than outrunning wild.
Interesting.
And after I say after here recently, a shift happened after the 3P UK London conference in vacation, where I noticed some of the roads I was pointing to really didn't lead people to truth. They were just fun. They were programmed. They had all the right check marks in it, but the feeling of it wasn't there. And I noticed those programs because were made me trying to show something or establish something. Coming back, the programs now and creating really stem from what do I hear when I listen? And after I listen and hear a hang up, how do I best point people to the best resources to change that hang up in their life? So it's a lot simpler for me now than it was in the beginning because I'm very clear on where I'm going. You know, the point is like boom, crisp. The way there, I'm still, you know, figuring out the vessel, so to speak, the route of travel. But it's really, really just trying to get people to a point to understand it's within them, and hopefully that alleviates some of their suffering. Again, for them to go do whatever they want in their life. Like that's the part I'm very clear on. I don't even, for me, I don't see myself really playing a lot in form. My coaching or the time we spend together, what I'm trying to get you to see is you. And then the one thinking behind all the responsibilities you may have as a mother, husband, father, wife, daughter, you know, all of those. Before that, you know, let's get an understanding that that's whole. Let's get an understanding that that's not broken. Let's get an understanding you are the creative energy of the world. Let's get an understanding all you can do, your default is love. Once that's understood, the form becomes very easy to put into the shape you want. So that for me, it would have been that getting very clear on what it was I wanted people to wake up to, and then seeing which which of the programs I put out woke them up most. Alignment was a good one for me.
Mhm.
I've had some that didn't do as well. You know, Safe House was a flop, in my opinion. The 5 Keys to Healthy Living was a flop. There are so many, but
But I guess the question is, did you have fun creating them?
absolutely. I had fun learning. I had fun learning. The creation process was still a struggle at that point, but
Mhm.
I was up for it because I knew I would learn. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's such a weird thing with this creativity that I really don't like too many days in a row where everything goes well because I won't create shit. I'll just go with the fact that it's going well. Like, it won't challenge my thinking. It won't. So I
Mm.
need something like one of my kids calling me with a problem, or I need. I don't wanna say I need it, but I really like when I rub up against something because I'm so aware now. I stop and I want to pay full attention to it. Because if not,
I
I
love
would be flowing.
Yeah. No, and that's so fascinating from the point of view that I saw what I had created about coaching, because when I did Super Coach, it was in the middle of COVID. The whole
Mm.
world shut down.
Yes. Everybody
And
shut
I
down.
lived
Yeah.
in a beautiful bubble for 9 months with my kids here. And then all of a sudden and people just arrived for coaching. It was just beautiful. And
Yeah.
then life kicking back in was like, oh, but I like doing coaching from there.
Mm-hmm.
So fascinating to see how my creation of actually the rub being, oh, I don't really want that. And your creation of being, actually the rub stretches me.
Mm-hmm. Helps me expand. Absolutely.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh yeah. It helps me. It's for me, it's an indicator I'm expanding. Um
Mhm.
I'll use a old trainer analogy. If I go put on a pair of my jeans and they longer fit, that's a sign I'm expanding. Okay. All right. So why would my jeans are now rubbing up against my stomach and my hips like it didn't normally do? All
Mm.
right. So what does that mean? That means I got something there. I got some weight on something there, and I better address that weight on something there if I want these jeans to fit, or I realize if I want new jeans. Like, it's that simple. It's
Mm.
not the fact that it rubbed up. Like, who cares? That's the part of life, you
Mm.
know. It's, do I keep these jeans and address, the areas that have expanded a little too much for it? Or do I just buy a new pair and deal with the expansion? And sometimes that's a question,
Mm.
and maybe I have to deal with the jeans for a little bit longer to come up with what's clear on, should I buy a new pair or not? Maybe I buy a new pair, keep the old pair because one day I could put them back on. Who knows? But it's just the not being stuck at any point on anything because life is always moving.
Mm. So I know obviously you love to talk, a bit like me, but do you try other shit? I mean, I know obviously speech
Mhm.
language. I know you do. You've learned so much in the last couple of years with technology and tweaking it and playing in there.
Mhm.
Do you write? Do you? What else do you play?
Um,
I mean,
I pl
everything you play, but
Yeah, no, I get it. I play a lot with hosting.
Mhm.
Hosting is something I love. I'm doing a bar mitzvah, emceeing a bar mitzvah in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's just fun.
Mhm.
Like the kids are jumping, and to see how much some people spend in bar mitzvahs, and wow, like in
Uh,
bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, it's like, whoa. Like, I've done them at the top of presidential suites, on the rooftop of high hotels, and these like 14, 15-year-old kids. I've done a couple where the Laker girls have actually walked the kid down the aisle. The
oh my
Lakers cheerleaders, yeah. I've seen a lot of elaborate ones, but
So
they're
when
so
you're
fun.
emceeing them,
Hmm.
How does that play? What do you?
It's the games. We play games.
Mm,
We have to go through this, the itinerary of what the actual program is. But there's a connection that happens where the people just stay engaged. And it's no matter what I'm talking about. Like emceeing a bar mitzvah, I feel like I'm on stage giving a speech. To me, it doesn't feel like it's any different, right? I am giving them information, right? That's has to be presented to them, and it got to come through me.
mm,
That's all I see it with. So hosting is pretty fun. I just spoke with a hosting coach who was kind of looking at a lot of the stuff I was doing and was like, let's do a call and see. And I'm pretty sure it was a sales call for her. She was like, let's see what's going on with your hosting and on camera career. And if, you want to pivot there or look at there. And she talked to me about a few things that's happening in hosting platforms that would be super beneficial for me in the coaching world. And I thought that was pretty odd. So I was pull them over, whatever. But she invited me to partake in a couple on camera personality things that she does and things like that. But that's another way. And it's so funny because whenever I go to hosting training or classes or things like that, I typically leave with a client because most actors, actresses, or hosts are extremely stressed in their life with trying to get auditions, trying to monetize, their talents for their worth, their value, things like that. So I would always leave with a client. And it
mm,
was like, oh, again, hosting is just another one. MCing, hosting, music. Music is pretty much the same. Helping young artists with the creative process of getting out of their own way and just bringing their voice. Training, like really, I used to think that physical health was the only, pillar you need standing. That was era, but I still train people. Very limited, that one's the most exclusive club I have, I would say. Like, because that's the one I spend the most time with. So if I'm training you, I really have to like you. Like it's not because that one's but in training and the way that I talk to people about their bodies now and the difference of talking about physical health being about your body's significance versus your body image,
mm.
that's another way that people start to look inward. And so, I mean, it's just like any way you could put me in front of another human being, I'm trying to create a way to point to inside out understanding, no matter what it is, no matter where I am, no matter what it's funny because people be like, what's the title of your speech? You put whatever the hell you want on the thing. I don't I don't care about that part. I'm only doing one thing. I need that topic to resonate where they get that life happens from the inside out. Period. Whether it's by jokes, whether it's by serious, going through series of events I dealt with PTSD, whatever way I'll figure out it comes out, but that's the overall goal.
And of course, did you ever imagine in 2017 when you started this journey where it would ever take you?
No, not at all. I even often say now, um, prior to coming into this understanding, the level of happiness I thought was possible
Mm,
currently does not meet my bottom threshold of life.
mm,
So if you take me back, as you said, 10, 20 years, if I got exactly everything I thought I wanted, like if I got my dreams come true in my life 10, 20 years ago, I still would be living at a much lower level of consciousness than I am now, a much more um, different type of experience. I would have more money. I would have more possessions. I would have more things.
yeah.
I would have more if shit, especially 10 years ago, I was at the height of my career, so to speak. I had, more people following me, waving my banner, go Rob, than anything. Um, but that wasn't it for me.
Mm,
Like, and I'm actually pretty happy that shit fell apart like that. Like I'm so happy the fall happened as a result of that because now, again, training wheels gone. I'm free to be happy and experience life any way I want,
Mm.
like any way. And so yeah, now it's a lot different for me, a lot.
And of course, it's so fascinating to see that actually none of it was your creation,
Yeah,
because your creation would have been, as you say, very different.
yeah,
Actually, how creation wanted to play with you.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. You don't even know what you want. That's what creation says. Rob, sit up, stop, boy. You don't even know what you want. Just sit down, okay? Figure out that it starts inside out, and then we'll talk.
Mm.
It's kind of like one of those things. It was like, oh, you're right. It's not that I am going out to do, but as it flows, me being the hand, I can reach out and shake a hand, or I can reach out and punch. That's totally up to me. Same force though, same energy.
And it's interesting, have you seen with the people, your family, how, as what I see your creative juice, which is volcanic,
Yeah,
have you rolled out to them? Have
yeah,
they been more adventurous, more,
yeah.
oh, let's just try something?
A little more. I will say that I've been blessed that everybody in my family, at some scale or another, has acknowledged a transformation in my life.
Mhm.
What I love about that is that means they could see.
Mm.
The part about that rubs up that I'm dealing with is after they see it, they think it's just special to me though, that they don't have it. And so what that tends to do is they then run to me for it. And I want to say run like they're always bringing me, problems or things like this, but it's kind of set up that way. It's okay. If I get stuck, call my big bro or call my brother, and he'll sort
Like,
me through. He'll kind of, do that. And I really just want them to see they can do it. Like I love being there for my siblings, but I don't want to have to be there one day when I'm on with a client and figure out, and they feel like they lose. And it's like, no, you got this on your own. Um, my mom and dad have been probably the biggest shift.
mm.
Um, when I say my mom is a student now, it's so interesting. We've had such a wild ride of experiences. Is we're supposed to be mother son. We're supposed to be mother son. But because she was so young when she had me, our first couple of years was like brother sister.
Mm.
Then when she kind of moved me, when I stopped staying with my grandmother and moved back in, with my mom and stuff, we kind of went through this peers, or, we're in this together. You got a part, I got a part, because money, I'm in high school, I'm working too. I'm bringing money to the house too, because we didn't have a bunch of it. Um, when I started talking about this understanding, waking up to it, and she started seeing the changes, she basically put in place a weekly meeting where she gets to ask me all the questions she wants.
How wonderful.
Yeah, like no, no joke. She's like, all right, Sunday at this time is my thing. And she calls, and last Sunday was like 2 hours because she had a few things about work and extra stuff. But my mom is probably became one of the biggest students of trying to, and it's funny because she knows I see, but for her, it's rubbing up against that our Baptist religion,
Okay.
for her it is, and so rather than fight her on that, it's just like, no, no, what do you see with the, the form you're looking at it, what do you see? Let's just start there and then we'll go otherwise.
Mm.
So yeah, my family is definitely, even my added family, Lori's kids, who I'm not their biological father, but the way they respond to me and want to know what I feel and think about situations in their life just points to that transformation again.
Mm.
Because before, people didn't want to hear what I had to say, because I was usually saying it with some type of toxicity attached to it, because it was about me,
Mm.
about proving that I was smart enough or I knew the answer or something like that. And that's a lot different now. Not even a little bit, a lot different now.
How beautiful that a journey you didn't create is rippling out
Uh,
to others. And you don't even get to create there, because if you got to create there, you'd have them all signed up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I did the understanding did allow me to see they were okay,
Mm,
which lessened the pressure I put on them having to get it.
mm,
See, I was trying to force feed it to them because I thought they had to get it because I thought they weren't okay and they were going to this going to happen and that going. When I realized they were okay.
mm.
Like again, for me, what we're teaching people is optional. Even if I teach you this, you could still choose to suffer throughout your life knowing it. That's on you. It's your choice. You just don't have to. And I think once I realized they were okay, I started seeing certain things I thought was suffering, and it wasn't suffering from them. That was just the way it was.
Mm.
And that was truly fascinating for me to see.
So I know you've done obviously the speaking course with Deborah.
Mhm.
Deborah.
Speak and be heard. Yep.
How have you seen people play in that?
That has probably been one of the most dynamic courses I've ever been a part of that I've put on or helped put on or something like that. Man, people come into that class um, scared to raise their hand on Zoom calls
Mhm.
and leave out of there talking about fuck self-judgment. I'm talking to who I want to talk to. Literally, and that's a quote. That's
Yeah,
a quote. Like,
wow.
literally. Yeah. Seeing people and I'm not a I don't want to use the term butthole, but I am a trainer in the sense of when I know the grounds are safe, I do poke and prod you a little bit for you to try.
Mm.
That's what we're here for. So distractions, throwing, curveballs at you at the last minute, tell you prepare 5 minutes, but only give you 3 minutes, tell you prepare 3 minutes, give you 5 minutes.
Pull your
Like
heart.
again, not to make you so-called fail, but for you to be aware of it,
Of
when
life.
you yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been super fun watching that. And that's an old military thing. We used to do training in my field with a lot of PowerPoint presentations because the dynamic of our work was so unsafe.
Mhm.
And I remember creating the big idea was convincing a commander to trust me that this was not the best way to train because if the first time somebody got into a fist fight was when they really needed to know how to fight, meaning a terrorist or a bad guy had grabbed them or something, we had lost. And that our training should involve fighting throughout the weeks so we would be prepared for it. At first, we had a couple broken noses and people lost their front tooth or something like that, had to go to the dentist. And he almost shut it down
Mm.
until things started happening with the way people were responding because they felt a little bit more grounded in that what they were doing there. They
Mm.
weren't as tense. You could feel it in the unit. There was less tension. And people start feeling like they could really do their fucking job. Oh, I'm sorry. People start really feeling like they could do their jobs. They could do their thing.
Not me.
Okay. Yeah. So it
Okay,
was,
that's okay.
it was one of those things like,
Well,
over here.
everything you say is exactly the same as what you're describing about your speaking course with
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I say it came from that. Yeah.
the experiencing
Yeah.
of the whole experience of actually it being interactive and having a feel to it,
Yeah.
as opposed to it being up here or on a whiteboard.
Well,
I mean, how often have we heard the saying from Michael that, you bump up against life,
yeah.
and the fact that, it's, what's his phrase? It's a something sport.
Contact sport.
It's a what?
Life is a contact sport.
That's it.
Uh,
Yeah.
that it is.
How beautiful it is to see that actually there's so much the same. Because actually, if so much is the same, what's there to be frightened about?
I think we knew that at some point. I just wonder where it changed.
Mm.
Like, I think at some point we knew that exact statement you said, as we as human beings live. And then at some point of history, we forgot it.
Mm.
And then it then traditionally passed down. And then came the rules, and then came everything else. But at some point, I think we knew that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I so love spending time with you.
Same here. I love you too. Which is why you would accept an invitation without knowing what the hell you're doing till you get there. You would have to love somebody.
Thank you, Rob, darling. It has been absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And best of wishes and blessings and everything to you and Jazzy as y'all go forth with this full life community. Like, man, run hard. Help people see and love doing it.
Well, it will be what it'll be, because the creative force, the world of everything, that's what's running the show, really.
Yeah. I love that.
We just had to turn up.
Turn up.
Turn up. Thank you, darling. I love you. Oodles, go gym. Do some for me, because my personal trainer's away at the moment. So.
Got you.
And it's amazing, actually, how much achier I am not doing exercise with her.
Oh yeah, you stiffen up real quick.
But I'm also a lot older than you. So.
No.
Thank you, my darling.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too.
And
Bye bye.